Hello and welcome back to another installment of Poke Fodder, and today I want to go over something that has been highly debated on my Discord, on the live streams that people have done between my live stream, Showtime did a live stream, I think Giggity did a live stream, Rico did a live stream yesterday, and if there's anybody else that did a live stream, I apologize that I missed you. The question has become, with the release of Shaymin, what is the best mega to use with Shaymin? And here's the deal. As soon as Shaymin was released, I woke up to numerous messages on my Discord about Shaymin with Mega Sableye, because Mega Sableye can't be knocked out. You'll have an endless Mega Sableye. And I kind of thought about it. I'm like, well, I mean, technically you're right. And unfortunately, I can't look at these figures, the megas, without going into their base form. So there's going to be a lot of editing done in this video. And where is Sableye? Okay, so here's Sableye. And I can't look at Mega there either. So if we look at the Mega Sableye, this Pokemon's not knocked out in battle by damage. It's right there. But does that necessarily mean that Mega Sableye is the best mega to run with Shaymin? Looking at Shaymin's wheel, where are you, Shaymin? While this Pokemon is not affected by a special condition and is on an entry point, Mega Evolution does not end via passage of turns for the Pokemon of the player whose entry point it is. You're not going to put this figure on your opponent's entry point, so we're just going to rule that out, okay? Because that's not going to happen. You're going to keep it back on your side of the field on your entry point. So then the question becomes, what is the best mega to use with Shaymin? What I did is I painstakingly went through all 19 Mega Evolutions that are currently in the game. This includes all of them, just all of them. And what I did is I ranked them on 3 categories. The first category that I ranked them on, and what I think is what I think is weighted the heaviest, is survivability. What good is having a Mega Evolution that never goes away if it can't survive? I hope that makes sense. So that was, to me, that was the most important trait, I guess we'll call it. The next thing that I ranked was the Mega Evolution's ability to get a knockout. Again, what good is it to have a Mega Evolution that never dies if it can't ever knock anything out either? And that was closely weighted against the survivability. I think survivability is more important, because if you're not alive, you can't, if you get knocked out, you can't KO anything yourself. I hope that makes sense. And then, if we have to run Shaymin, what is the synergy between the Mega Evolution and Shaymin? I weighted that not nearly as heavily as I did survivability or the ability to get a knockout, but I do think that is pretty important. And finally, kind of the X factor that had the least weight with it, in my opinion, would be the utility of that figure. I think it's more important that you synergize with Shaymin than it is that you have a utility. And by utility, I mean like Blaziken. When it hops over a figure, it burns that figure. That's great utility, but that doesn't really synergize at all with Shaymin. So what I've got here is I put together my list. And if I can figure this out, I really hope I can, I will put a link in the description below to my rankings so that you guys can look at it, and feel free to disagree with me. This is 100% my opinion, and I guarantee that people are gonna chime in and say you're wrong, and you know what, that's fine, but I'm giving you my opinion on what the best Mega Evolutions are to run with Shaymin. We're just going to start at the bottom, taking in number 19, Charizard Y. I love Charizard Y, but Charizard Y, if we look at its wheel, it's got a 50 times spinner, which is going to become, and these are all base forms, okay? Like, I don't want to have to do all this math every time. So the base form is 50, you get 10 for the evolution, then you're going to get 20 additional for the self buffs. So just add 80 onto all the white attacks and gold attacks, if you will, and then add 1 star to any purple attacks. Now, here's the deal. You're probably not going to run Charizard. You're probably going to run Charmeleon and take Charmeleon all the way up to Charizard Y, but that's too much for me to go into. I'm not going to do all of that. And I also just did it kind of at their base level, because people have different philosophies on when you go to level 5, what you increase and what you don't increase. And so I didn't want to get into a debate over, well, if you increase flashover on Charizard Y, then XYZ. I just didn't want to get into all that. So I'm loosely taking these at the base form, with the exception of I'm taking it at level 5 because of miss. Like, if you completely remove a miss, that helps your survivability, which it doesn't matter, because if it's level 1, then it's still going to have more miss than another figure. But Charizard Y has flat out a 25% chance of hitting its spinner 1 time, and like a 34% chance of hitting it at least twice. And while 50 goes to 80, so while 160 is going to knock out a lot of figures, you have a 25% chance of rolling an 80, and 80 is really not going to knock out anything. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on these figures down at the bottom of the list, but I just want you to know kind of my thought process between all of this. Mega Charizard, while I love Mega Charizard, I think in game use, I think Mega Charizard Y is actually really good. Remember, this is specifically to running it with Shaymin. And this is not, I also did not get into the, like, if we look at Mega Swampert with a water deck and Shaymin is insanely strong. But I'm not going to think of, well, with the right deck build and everything else, then this one's better. No, I didn't do any of that. So if you want to comment that you don't agree with what my ranking is, I'm completely okay with that. But if your argument is Mega Swampert with a Feeny and Mega Swampert deck is way better than any of the other figures and it should be ranked higher, I'm not going to listen to that argument, because I am simply rating them based on Shaymin is in the deck and the Mega is in the deck. And then no 4 other figures. I'm just talking about this specific Mega with the Shaymin, and I hope that makes sense. And that's the hard thing about this game as far as doing tier lists, is because there are so many different deck builds and so many different ways to level up figures and make a figure like the Decidueye, who maybe some people level up the 120 to make it a way stronger attacker, while other people level up the gold to make it a gold attacker. It becomes a totally different figure. And I just am not going to get into those kind of debates. So I hope all that makes sense. Take this with a grain of salt. It is a tier list. It is my tier list. And we will continue on. Probably of no surprise, Charizard X is going to come in at 18th place. Again, it suffers from the same problem that Charizard Y does. I think that the survivability of both the Charizards is really low, and the ability to get a knockout is near the bottom of the list, and there is 0 synergy. And in fact, most of these have 0 synergy with Shaymin. I think the utility is nice. Being able to banish figures for 7 turns is pretty crippling, but at the same time, you're just as likely to roll an 80 attack, and that is just not going to cut it. We have like uncommons that hit harder than 80 at this point in the game. Moving on to number 17, is Mega Scissor. Mega Scissor's just basically underwhelming, and you know, a good argument could be made that Mega Scissor is the worst Mega, especially when going up. Just if you don't have Shaymin on the board, there's a strong argument that could be made that Mega Scissor is the worst one. Not really anything else I want to go into on this figure. It doesn't synergize well. The cracked markers is nothing. It's just not very good. Coming in at number 16, Mega Blaziken. While I think the ability to hop over a figure and burn it is amazing, there is no synergy. And in fact, I'm just going to drop the synergy. I will mention moving forward if the figure has synergy. If I don't mention anything about synergy, then you just assume it doesn't have any. But the ability to hop over a figure and burn it is great. The Wall Crusher is super situational. Basically does nothing but stall. The Jet Kick 50, while it's gold and it has uses, we're not in a heavy purple meta, and most of the time the 50, which is going to become 80, is going to be a losing roll, and for that reason Mega Blaziken comes in at number 16. Moving on, number 15 is Mega Sceptile. Kind of surprising because this is the first figure that actually has synergy with Shaymin, because it is going to give it a plus 10 on its attack, and Shaymin's attack is pretty weak. It has a 60 attack. But the ability to pull figures out of the PC is nice, except remember, one of your entry points is blocked by Shaymin, so if your opponent has the other entry point, Mega Evolving isn't going to really help you out because your figures can't get onto the board. Moving from 2 MP to 3 MP is super nice. It's really good. You can catch your opponent off guard, but at the end of the day, I don't think it is enough to swing the balance. No Miss is nice. Leaf Blade is, you know, it's very strong, but you're going to be reliant on it hitting twice. If it only hits once, what is that, 120? And then again, you have a 50 tail missile, which is pretty... The 50 tail missile is going to lose the majority of the time. I'm just going to say it. It does have its uses. It does have its ability of... Sometimes it will land your 50, you'll lose, but knock out your other opponent for re-rolling gold. But at the end of the day, you are going to mostly be losing with Mega Sceptile. If we move on, Mega Ampharos checks in at number 14. Mega Ampharos is a nice figure, but you want Mega Ampharos to go away because that is your other max revive. Now, I think Mega Ampharos in a vacuum as a mega figure without Shaymin is an amazing figure. It's one of the best, if not the best. But when you talk about synergies with Shaymin, I think Shaymin actually hurts Mega Ampharos. Therefore, and that's just regular Ampharos, sorry. Mega Ampharos is up here. Shaymin actually hurts this ability because you actually want Ampharos to run out. Coming in at number 13 is going to be Mega Sableye. A lot of people say Mega Sableye is great because it can't be knocked out. The problem is the survivability on Mega Sableye is good. In fact, it's, in my opinion, it's the second highest of all of them. But Mega Sableye is not really going to knock anything out. I mean, let's be honest. I've gone up against it a handful of times. I don't know that it's ever knocked me out. And it doesn't really have much utility. It has a gold attack, which is nice. It's not that strong, but you don't really need strong gold attacks. At the end of the day, Mega Sableye is just going to get on your board and do nothing, in my opinion, until eventually, like, it gets surrounded, which is why it ranks so high in survivability. There's no synergy with Shaymin, and at the end of the day, like, I think you're just going to have this figure and you're going to be spam attacking figures until they get knocked out, and by that time a good opponent is going to pressure your end of the goal and basically take out your Shaymin while your Mega Sableye is not doing anything. Moving up the charts to number 12, we have Mega Beedrill, and I really wanted Mega Beedrill to be higher on this list, but it suffers the same problem that the Charizards do. The reason why this one is so much higher with a less attack is because it has really nice synergy with Shaymin. Because remember, Shaymin's 60 attack is going to gain plus, I want to say plus 20, but don't get me, oh, it's going to double. So Seed Flare is actually going to double when you poison or noxious an opponent, and Mega Beedrill is all about poisoning and making your opponents noxious, and it has the ability to exclude those figures from the duel. That is really, really nice synergy for Shaymin. The problem is 70 spinner. Again, you're gonna have like a 25% chance to roll a 70, and 70 is going to be a knockout like 98% of the time if you roll it one time. 140 is going to be good. Anything over 140 is great, but the 25% chance to just roll a 70 is not good. The reason why it ranks so high on the list is because it does have the amazing synergy with Shaymin. Moving to number 11, Mega Salamence. Many will argue that Mega Salamence is absolutely the worst Mega Evolution in all of the game, and they could be right, but it's got decent survivability. The utility of the fly is really good. It does have a boatload of miss, and there's just not really anything that you can do about it. There's not really much to say about Mega Salamence on this list. Moving on, we get to the very first of all the new figures, and that is Mega Aggron. Mega Aggron is nice. It has good survivability. I think it has the ability to get a lot of knockouts, and we're kind of in the middle here. Like, we're not on these are terrible, and we're not on these are great. And I think this just kind of fits right into the middle somewhere between having decent survivability, decent ability to knock out a figure, decent utility, just kind of meh. It gets lost in the crowd, and that's a lot of these that were in this little group right here that, you know, that aren't the bottom 5 and they aren't the top 5, just kind of all are meh. There's nothing that really makes them stand out, but there's nothing that really makes them awful at the same time. And for that reason, I will probably just blow through the next few of these. Coming in at number 9, we have Mega Swampert. Mega Swampert, as I mentioned before, if you're running a double Feeny, double Swampert / Mega Swampert Shaymin deck, is incredible. But we're not talking about that deck build. We're just talking about this figure and its use with Shaymin, and I think it's just okay. It's kind of lost in the mix. You know, the biggest thing against it is the 70 Ice Punch. It's going to lose the majority of the time. Yes, you're going to ice your opponent, but you know, the blue in it has a large blue, also going to make it have nice survivability. But at the end of the day, if you're not running a deck specifically built around this, it's just kind of meh and gets lost in the shuffle. Number 8, Mega Mewtwo Y. I think on its own, Mega Mewtwo Y is a great figure. It's probably it's probably at least this high, if not a little bit higher. But like it doesn't benefit from Shaymin, because Shaymin, both the Mega Mewtwo's already can have infinite lives, more or less. If you build a psychic deck around it, you're going to have some better synergies, and that kind of goes without saying for all these. If you build a deck around the Mega and your other figures getting the buff, and you want to use your Mega as a goalie, well, then it just depends on your deck build. But as far as just using Mega Mewtwo Y with Shaymin, I don't know that you're necessarily going to benefit a whole lot from figure. And the 50 gold, which is going to turn to 80, true, it can't be knocked out by things that hit for 100 or higher, but at the same time, anything between 81 and 99 that's going to be a losing roll for that. And the 3MP is nice, but at the end of the day, just doesn't benefit greatly from having Shaymin around. Next, we are going to move on to number 7, and that's Mega Glade. Mega Glade is a nice figure, no miss at level 5. Again, with the rest of these, not a lot of synergy, but the ability to attack from 2 away is nice. Going back to the new figures at number 6 is Mega Tyranitar. Mega Tyranitar has decent survivability and is really only hampered by that 16 wheel slice of crunch, which is pretty underperforming. I want to say that it hits 100, maybe something like that. But nothing else really to mention, and I don't want to change screens to go look at the wheel. It's an all-white attacker, a white beater. It has really nice utilities and abilities of knocking out blue, heavy blue decks, and in today's meta, that is important. So that is why it's ranked where it is. Let's move on into the number 5, to the top 5. And at number 5 is Mega Altaria. Mega Altaria, the biggest knock against this figure for me is the final song, because final song is going to knock this one out. In my opinion, if final song didn't knock out Mega Altaria, I think this would probably be the best one to have with Shaymin, simply because, or one in the top 3. I think it'd be in the top 3 because with no miss, it's going to hit like a truck with the ability to hit like 2 trucks with the Dragon Dance. The final song is really nice because you can potentially final song all of your opponent's other figures in your turns. The problem is this final song is going to take you out as well eventually, and then you kind of lose your Mega at that point, and that is why it is not higher. Moving on to number 4, Mega Mewtwo X. This one actually surprised me in the rankings because I don't really think much of Mega Mewtwo X. Just like Sableye can't really be knocked out, it just goes back to the bench. At the same time, it's got a lot going on here that it's gonna be hard to win a game with this, and it is ranked as high as it is on its own, not because of Shaymin. It goes back to the bench instead of being knocked out, which if your entry points are capped is kind of a deterrent, but the ability to shove your opponent out of the way, you can flat out spam attack. I think that's gonna be 150 of an attack for the white. The laser focus, all the battle opponents' purples become misses. I just think at the end of the day, the ability to build up, like you don't have to spam attack with this. You can actually put it somewhere and attack when you want to and accrue extra moves. Because remember, with Shaymin, your Mega is going to start at 7, count down to 1, and then hold steady at the 1 until your Shaymin goes away, is how the unlimited Megas work. And I was actually surprised by Mega Mewtwo being ranked 4th on the list, but when doing all the criteria, that's just where it ended up. At number 3, Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise, I believe, has the best blue in the game. It's the ability to snipe figures your opponent from anywhere on the board is absolutely amazing. It's really hindered only by the 100 attack is a little lackluster. It's only going to be 130 on its own. There's no synergy with Shaymin, and it does have a lot of miss. And I would like to see the blue a little bit bigger, but the blue is so good that if it were bigger, I think it would probably be broken. And if you took this to level 10, you're going to have 45 wheel slice of turtle missile, which is just under 50% to land. I think having this for an infinite number of turns, in theory, you could absolutely wipe your opponent completely off the board with this figure. And you don't have to worry about it running out. You can place it on your opponent's side of the board and then snipe off figures and then move other figures to start taking over entry points. So I think Mega Blastoise benefits greatly by not going away. Moving into number 2, there's only 2 left here. And a lot of you might be surprised to find out what number 2 is, because I think Mega Gengar is number 2. I think Mega Gengar is one of the best Megas just across the board. It has really nice synergy because of the Toxic. Toxic is going to poison, or actually noxious, your opponents. That is going to benefit Shaymin. Shaymin is going to double its attack, and it's not unheard of to think that Mega Gengar can make 2 or 3 figures noxious. It's hard to knock out Mega Gengar. The 140 attack with no miss, the dodge, high survivability, 3 MPs, ability to move over other figures, and the really nice synergy with Shaymin make this the number 2 best Mega Evolution to run with Shaymin. So who's guessed what number 1 is? There's only one left. Mega Venusaur. Completely non-factor of a figure in Pokemon Duel, but I think it is the best figure to run with Shaymin. The reason being, Venom Whip. One Pokemon within 2 steps become noxious, okay? It's gonna have no miss at level 5. On top of that, you're going to have a 3-star purple that is going to benefit Shaymin. It's a grass type, and your grass type are going to gain plus 10. So if you think about it, if your Shaymin is on the board, if you noxious one of your opponents, your Shaymin's 60 is now doing 130. And that's just with poisoning or making one figure noxious. Solar Beam is 130, make it 140, make it 160 as a wide attack. There's not a lot that's going to knock that out. You can move over figures that are poisoned or noxious, and they're going to gain weight 5. At the end of the day, I think the survivability, well, we already know the synergy is top-notch. The synergy is number 1. It is going to be very, very difficult for you to knock this figure out. You're basically going to have to roll gold into purple in order to knock this out. The utility is amazing. Move over, weight 5, pick an opponent to make noxious, like 2 steps away. That is great. Solar Beam is nice, and the buffing of Shaymin, as well as the noxious 2 times with Shaymin, makes Mega Venusaur my number 1 pick for Mega Evolutions to run with Shaymin. There you have it. Feel free to disagree, but this is a great conversation starter. Let me know, what do you guys think of my tier list? What did you think I got right? What did you think I got wrong? What really surprised you? And what figure do you think that you were like, there's no way, but now that you look at it, you're like, wow, I actually never thought of that. That's what I want to know in the comment section. We are in the team event. I'm going to pop open this booster. It is a gold booster. We are going to get a Crawdont, a Shinx, an Ingot Rare, a Cube Common, and 20 team points. I'm team SP, I don't even know. Which one am I? I honestly don't even know. I'm either, who's purple? I think I'm Umbreon. I think I'm team Umbreon. And we are in last place by a long shot. I was way off. I thought Eevee would be the worst, but Eevee seems to be the best. That's all I've got for you guys today. There will be no gameplay because this was just kind of an informational video for you guys. I'm super excited to read these comments. I'm already ready for everybody to call me an idiot and tell me I'm completely wrong. But if I got something right, let me know that I got it right. You know, take the good with the bad. You can say that I got something wrong, but when I got something right as well, you have to give me a little credit on that. Do you guys think Mega Venusaur is the best evolution, Mega Evolution, to run with Shaymin? Can't wait to read your comments, and until next time.